we said last week that Hashem gave us mitzvahs because he wanted to do good stuff for us. And in order for us to earn it, he gave us mitzvahs. And we added on top of that, how are we earning it? Because mitzvahs, a la the purple jacket people, for those of you who have heard it, mitzvahs are there to help us make the world a more spiritual place where mankind can connect with their creator. And that's what mitzvahs do. So what we are in, actually, listen, really mind-blowing stuff, we are in a love triangle. No, not what you're thinking. A love triangle looks like this. Us, Hashem, the world. Us, Hashem, the world. Actually, Hashem belongs on top. So Hashem, us, the world. I've often been asked, Rabbi, what if I'm dating somebody and I don't love them? I'm not crazy over them. I like them. I like them a lot. Like I like their company, but it's not what I pictured. Anyone know what I'm talking about? It's not what I pictured. I pictured violins as they come in and the angels, he comes in the room. It's not like that. He's just a nice guy or she's a nice girl. I'm not feeling swept off my feet. When I was young, so my dad was very into musicals. That's why my kids, we all love musicals. So there was a musical called The King and I. Anyone ever hear The King and I? Okay, we got Stephanie. I think this is from The King and I. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But there was a song that went, I could have danced all night. Yeah, I got it right, huh? I could have danced all night and still have begged for more, right? 1,000 things that have never been. So that feeling of I could have danced all night, right? I don't feel that. I don't feel I could have danced all night. We chill, Is that enough to marry somebody? And then they add on to that question. They say, you know what? Not only that we don't, I don't get swept off my feet, but there is something else that I am getting out of this. And I'll tell you what it is. I am feeling that with this person, I can build something special. I feel like this person could be a good father, a good husband. They're growing in Judaism. They'll make Kiddush, they'll make Havdalah, they'll make a Pesach Seder. They'll be generous. They're not going to be cheap when I need something. So I'm not swept off my feet, but I feel like together we could build something great. Is that enough? And the answer that I give may surprise you. And the answer I give is, if you feel you could build something great with that person, then the answer could be yes. And the reason why is simple. I could have danced all night feeling, that goes away anyways. And reality sets in. No one lives happily ever after without struggle. But if you're aimed towards the same goal and you want to build something amazing, so that could be enough to marry somebody. However, there's always a however, how awesome would it be if you did have both? If you were crazy over them and you said, not only that, but this person and I, we're going to build something magical. Not just our love is magical, but we're going to build, in Hebrew we call it a bayis naaman b'Yisrael, a faithful house in Israel. We're going to, not in the land of Israel, could be land of Israel also, but amongst the Jewish people. I'm going to build something great. How great would it be if the person had both? That's mitzvos in a nutshell. Hashem and us, we are in love. My students know we call this a relationship. I'm in a relationship with the Almighty. And I'm madly in love with the one above. That's a great saying. Madly in love with the one above. That's where I am. So Hashem says back to me, awesome. I love you too. Now let's build something great together. And together we go and do mitzvahs and bring the world back to the spiritual place where it belongs. That's the great triangle that we're involved with. As a matter of fact, with that example, you know so much Kabbalah. You know so much about mitzvah. That one example, it's a very deep example. That triangle example, us, Hashem, the world. Us and Hashem, great relationship. Us and the world, let's build something great together. You got that, Lexi? You could spread that to everyone the rest of your life, and you will have given them great wisdom. Okay. Now, what happens if a person says, I feel spiritual, but I don't really feel like the mitzvahs are not doing it for me. Like, I don't understand them. So I don't know why I should do them. Plus, does God expect me to do all 613? Like, these are legitimate questions, because at the end of the day, being a Jewish person and doing Torah right, it's not easy street. It's not just have faith. We are a religion or a relationship of action, the way that any relationship should be, right? It's not good enough to say I love you. You got to show it also. Nachon? You got to show it. So what if a person says, I feel connected to you, Hashem, but I don't feel connected through keeping kosher. But you know how I feel connected? I feel connected through meditation. I do meditation. I breathe in and out the right way. I practice mindfulness, and I feel amazing. And these other things, davening doesn't make me feel amazing. It's just Hebrew words and a lot of them. But if I do meditation, I'll feel amazing. Why can't I just do meditation and feel amazing? So I want to tell you a very nice mashal. Does anyone here know what a mashal is? It's basically a parable. What's a parable? Parables are very potent in Judaism, because sometimes if you tell somebody, hey, what are you doing? That's crazy. You know you shouldn't be doing this. So then it hits too close to home. So what I do is I don't tell the person, don't do this or do that. Instead, I give a totally different example. And I say, what would you say over here? And he would say, well, obviously this. And then we say, well, isn't this the same thing? That's the way a parable works. It's a very powerful way of teaching a person a lesson. And in Judaism, a mashal is king. Okay? So I'm going to tell you a nice mashal. My wife says to me, excellent, Abe. My wife says to me that, you're going to the store. Do you mind picking me up some milk? I just poured cereal. I have a whole bowl full of cereal. And I went to the fridge, and lo and behold, we're out of milk. So I'm going to the store anyways. I want to pick up something. She says, do you mind picking me up some milk? I said, no problem. I get to the store, and right when I get there, I see flowers. They do this to a lot of stores. They're flowers right when you come in. Did you ever see that? Flowers, like especially near Mother's Day, flowers. And I thought, wow, and roses. And my wife's name is Rose, and it is. Shoshana means rose. So I said, this is so romantic. I'm going to pick up some roses. So I buy the roses, and I come home, and my wife opens the door, and I say, ta-da! And I hand her the roses, and she goes, oh, that's so sweet. And she smells them, oh, that's so nice. She says then, oh, did you pick up the milk? I said, I'll be honest with you. I didn't bring my credit card. I only brought a few dollar bills, and I didn't have enough money for both. So I got you the roses. And she says, oh, thank you very much for the roses, but my cereal over here is crying for some milk. I really wanted the milk. And that's the mashal. Now, the nimshal means, what is that trying to say? The lesson. And the lesson is that really love is doing what that person wants. Not what you want, but what that person wants. That's love. You've heard the example of the love languages. I think that we mentioned it last week, right? I'm not sure if we did, but there are 5, there's a book called The 5 Love Languages. And there are languages that, these are ways that people feel connected to us, or that we feel connected to the one that we love. So for some people, it's what's called acts of service. Like someone will feel loved if you help them take out the garbage, or if you help them with their homework. That's love. For some people, their love language is presence. They like to receive stuff. Everyone has a love language. So in order for me to connect to Lindsay, for example, so let's say Lindsay, her love language is presents. She likes to get presents. And instead of presents, I do an act of service for her. It's not going to do the same thing, because what really says I love you to her are presents. That's her love language. Or the opposite, or spending time. We all have the language that you could speak to us to tell us that you love us. I remember when a little bit after I got married, I was obsessed with buying my wife stuff. Right? I'm like the perfect husband. And especially jewelry. I loved buying her jewelry, which sounds like a really great thing. Like, hey, let me buy another diamond earrings. Like, so the thing is, my wife doesn't care about that stuff, which made me want to buy it even more. Like, you're gonna love it. Like, she really doesn't care about it. So one day I went to the store, and just out of the blue, I had a credit card, so I could buy anything in the world. I was young, didn't have a lot of money. We did not have a lot of money, but we'll worry about it and whatever. And I saw this ring. It was like a little flower made out of diamonds and rubies, big ruby in the middle, really pretty ring. And I bought it for her. And I came home and I said, here, I bought you a present. And she said, why? I don't need this. We don't have the money for it. To her, you know what an act of service is? Doing the dishes with her. Helping her physically, not presence. What was I doing for her? Maybe I was projecting my own love language onto her. The problem is that that's my language, but that's not her language. Understand? Hashem's love language is called mitzvah. That's Hashem's love language. And Hashem says, you want to connect to me? You may feel spiritual doing yoga, but that's not what I asked you to do. That's not my love language. You may want to meditate, but that's not my love language. It may help you. It may be healthy. It for sure is healthy. It's great to center yourself, but you want to feel spiritual for you, so you feel good, then you bought flowers. But you want to do what I need, you buy milk. The truth is, it's an obvious and mature way of understanding a relationship. And since Judaism is a relationship, and it sort of boggles the mind how people see when you do things in your own way, but mitzvahs are ignored. So then it's not a relationship at all. It's just stuff that makes me feel good or makes me feel spiritual. So the grand quest is to find how to connect with the eternal. That's what mitzvahs are.